This is One Nation presented by Tony Betts.
Come on.
Jordan Wilson, Adam Jenkins for a CPL special half an hour. A controversial one, as always, as we, Jordan Wilson, are finally fully on the second half of the CPL schedule.
Let's go!
Thank you, Halifax Wanderers, for finally getting to 14 matches played this season. We are also, so I've been told, because I never get to experience these, coming off of a holiday Monday, where a lot of people in Canada...
Wait, hold on. Why don't you get to experience holiday?
Because I'm here calling Canadian Premier League games, baby.
Which games specifically and which clubs specifically are you usually covering on that Monday?
Jordan Wilson and Yusri Rudolph holiday extravaganza, typically. They're some of my favorite moments in my career thus far.
You gotta love it, Halifax. Just schedule a Saturday, Sunday once in a while, here and there, right? So we can all be at the barbecue eating the potato salad and good meat. That's what you want to do.
Listen, the Canadian government gets flack for a lot of things, and I know the producer's like, where is he going with this? They decided, you know what, we don't have a holiday in August. Let's just make one. And everyone's like, what are we celebrating, Canadian government? And they're like, civility? I don't know. Civic holiday, that's the one. We're not complaining. We get a day off.
Love civility.
Weekend, everyone gets a chance to cook up some burgers or dogs on the barbecue, have a couple of drinks, watch the Canadian Premier League. It's tradition. But Jordan, which is the best holiday in the calendar for you?
I said this one's the best. I remember being in school, and at the time where Thanksgiving hits, it is just a time where you need a little break. Sometimes as well, it's still sunny. You go outside with a little windbreaker, but you still get that nice vitamin D on your skin. Thanksgiving for me has to be the bona fide best Monday holiday. That time, you get the leftovers from the weekend. That's top notch. I like Labor Day as well.
Labor Day is a good show.
I mean, starting school on a Tuesday, I think we need to get behind that in Canada. 4-day weeks, 3-day weekends, please. I've been submitting the forums for years. Please, can we have this? Can we get this done? You know what? How much better we would be prancing along if the Monday was... Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Jordan, you don't have a typical schedule. When was the last time you had a typical 9 to 5?
Don't worry. It's not about me. It's about the people.
Voice of the people.
Okay, 5 and 2 now. 4 and 3, yes. Let's get behind that. What about you, brother?
Ontario bias Thanksgiving is great because it's like full autumn, and I'm a sucker for the colors and go for a drive and go for a run. But there's something too about the Victoria Day kickoff to summer. Like lately, the past few years, it's been summer, but there's just something about that vibe. The cottagers are out, the cottage communities are packed, but everyone's kind of like, they've mowed their lawn at that point. You can smell the barbecues more and more. There's something about that. We survived another winter. Let's get into it. So 2 very good choices: Victoria Day, Thanksgiving. And with that, there is no great segue to move on to our main topic today, which is our teams of this season, Jordan Wilson, to this point, now that everyone is officially halfway done.
I woke up today so excited to talk, argue, deliberate about this beautiful game, but the players. Let's talk about the players, right? This is what we want. And for me, if I was still playing, maybe I'm on a short list. Maybe I'm in the team of the squad of the season. Maybe 19. Maybe. But the 11. Oh, I can't wait for the text messages that are coming in and how I don't believe in certain players. I know you're gonna get that too. Coaches like, how did you not put my guy up there? Look, we are human. We're doing our best off of the stuff that is given to us. But I will start by saying my side, my team of the season so far is a 4-2-3-1. And we must preface by saying this team is not about the most talented players in the CPL. It's about who has done the best so far to this point. So if you're going to shoot me off that's fine. But I'm ready to argue my point. What is your team playing?
I've already got 4 text messages just as you were talking about why I'm so wrong. The part of my strategy that I want to highlight and make very clear is I'm with you where it's not necessarily I'm building the perfect positions and balance and all these things. But the thing that makes mine, I think, unique in how I approach these is I give a lot of weight to players that are the most outstanding, most valuable to their team as well.
Okay.
So if we're in a 50-50 toss-up, if I say put player B into the team, but players C and D can do close to as good of a job as this person, they're not as valuable to me.
Got it.
So I'm going to give some players love who I think are heads and shoulders above in their group. That's part of my strategy.
We need to do something quickly because I said if I was still playing, I would try to be in the squad of the season. Yeah. And you kind of made a face like you're eating lemons and limes.
I was just drinking my mango passion fruit tea.
I'm like, if you have something to say, brother, now's the time to say it. Be like, you're rubbish. But it's okay, maybe we'll talk talk about off air while I shine my little fist a little bit to make
We're going to get angry enough. I was just trying to get you in the right mood for this.
Buddy, I'm so excited to do this with you.
I'm going to regret this immensely. My team is in a 3-5-2, Jordan.
Ooh,
but
spicy.
Because I respect you so much and you've played in this league, I'll give you the first vote for your goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper. For me, I know it's about this season and the past 14, 15, 16 games, but it has to be Emil Gazdoff. The young man had a shocker last season at some points. But this season, the way that he's coming with confidence, big saves in almost every match that he plays, the best defensive team in the league, the way that he's stepped up and you hear him as a voice, he's a shoo-in. I could put some other names as well in the category, but this one for me is still above the rest, especially when you put it in terms of if you put him in every other team, would he still be valuable? And for me, it is Emil Gazdoff. He's my guy if I'm putting the 11 in the season so far.
I think this was probably my biggest struggle of the entire team.
And the whole squad?
The entire squad. Just because I think none of the keepers in the CPL have either been at their best from day one or have played enough games to justify it. So there's a punishment from my perspective if you've missed time or if you're being platooned, like there are in Ottawa, like there have been at Pacific for various reasons. With that said, I don't know that he is the best goalkeeper in the Canadian Premier League right now overall, but right now after this point in the season, I'm going with Marco Carducci. I want a safe pair of hands that is going to be consistently good. He is not going to give me surprises. I know I can count on him. He's vocal. He commands his space. He works really well with that group. And I just look at some of the saves that he's made, the opportune times to make those saves, especially when Cavalry have been so heavy into the draws at this point in the season. How many of those draws or losses if Carducci's a step behind? That's why he gets my vote. But I don't think he's the best keeper in the CPL right now. That's a different conversation.
Got you. I like it. But I think you're wrong. I love you, but I don't know if I can put Carducci up there so far. I think also as well, you're the voice of CPL. I don't know what we would do without you, truthfully, all the games that you call. And for me, I love doing color commentary, but no way I'm doing play-by-play. You gotta know your role, honey. No chance I'm doing what you do. You see a lot, and what I'm saying by this is that it might be blending all the seasons that you've seen into this past little chunk. And that's fair, and maybe there are some players that I put on my 11 that might be bleeding from last year. I think Callum Irving has been better. I think Emil Gazdoff, obviously I picked him, has been better. I'd even put Kalongo in that group better. And that is not saying that Carducci has been poor. That's just saying that these guys have just been a step or fingernail length ahead of him. So it's not a bad shout. It's just not a shout that I would pick. But you don't have to agree. We're different.
That's true. And I like your line of questioning. Were you holding my hand or killing the flies? Because we still haven't solved that issue in the studio.
Just give me one of these little flick
One of those. We are going to get to omissions and players that we struggled to keep out. I think we can definitely have a long conversation or continue this conversation then after our list. Jordan, let's go to you. You're going to go to your defenders next.
So I'm going to start at the right back.
Okay.
For me, I think this, in the committee that goes on in my head, the dozen voices, it was unanimous. Fraser Aird, right back. You talk about best right backs in the league. I have Luke I could throw up there. I could throw different players. I've really enjoyed watching Malcolm Duncan play. There are players that have stepped up. Twardek, you could talk about these guys, but in terms of a complete right back, right now in this season, what they're contributing to their squad and the point that you made in terms of can go to other teams, but just being a step ahead of the rest, Fraser Aird, unanimous. That is his right back side. That is his right side. For me, he's the winner.
Okay. Can Jerome change? Let me know if we change our mind, but I think you should just go through all your defenders and I'll go through mine.
Okay. Then I'm going to go to my right center back. TMG, Thomas Meyer-Jaguar. Can you say his name in French?
Meyer-Jaguar.
See, that's what I meant to say. For those at home, my Quebecois, forgive me. He has just been a staple. Every year that he plays, and I think Wheels or KJ brought it up on match night a few weeks back, but in terms of Pacific defenders getting better, it was KJ getting better and better each year. They pride themselves on defending. This is probably one of those players that was good when he started, had potential to be great, but is a top center back now. Like, I'm not saying in the CPL that players should go on and move, but if he wanted to, he'd be equipped. The way he plays the ball at the back, the way he reads situations. a center back's role primarily for me, and I've dabbled in it a little bit, is about just organizing what's around you, and he does that to a T. So for me, TMG, that is his spot halfway through the season, and I really feel like he'll still be there at the end of the season.
His partner.
Methuselah. This one was tough for me.
Okay.
I expected big things from him going into this season, and he's delivered. I will also say what factors into this. I know we're talking about the CPL and the games that have been played halfway, but also his CanChamps performances. Yep. I can't help but ignore those, because when you're playing better competition or you're playing in tournament football, you need players to be and play outside of themselves, and that's what he's done. Methuselah, this feels like his year in terms of being one of the top players. I think he'll even be in contention when it's all said and done for Defender of the Year. He's been class for me. And I'm going to go to my left side. And I know that there's another name I could have maybe put, and they were head-to-head. But I'm going off of a young man who just impressed me on a team that had their struggles, but he was a constant heartbeat. And it's not every day where you see, I build my teams down the spine. It's not because I played in the middle. It's just because when things get tough, you look at that middle. Your two center backs, your midfielders, your 10 sometimes, or even your strikers, straight down the spine. That is what gets all this going. Without the spine, you can't do what I just did, that funkiness. Straight down the middle is usually where it is. But Antonoglu on that left side, Temi, my boy, haven't met you yet, but I'm going to give you a big hug when I do, because I've loved him. Led the league in interceptions, being in the right spot, the poise that he has for a young player and a left back to be in the right position. I think in today's game, too, when you're a defender, sometimes you want to go and be aggressive, over-aggressive, and maybe getting a lot of yellow cards. He's almost clever. Like, he plays the game like he's Spanish. Like, he's reading situations, getting in the right pockets that he needs to be to make the right decisions. Chipping in on a goal here and there. But I like him. For me, that's my strong back four.
It's a good back four. Two of those players you have listed will be in my team in the future. Let's start with Maher Jaguar.
Okay.
I think you covered it off. I think he is the anchor on the most important, or the most prolific, or not prolific.
So he's in your squad?
Yes, he's in my squad.
Got
he's
it.
Center back.
Okay.
So I have three center backs, remember. So it's 3-5-2.
Yes, that's why. Got it.
So Maher Jaguar is there. I'm going to add Amir Didic in, his former partner in crime. I will talk about Ottawa, I think, throughout this in different ways, but Didic has been able to come from Pacific, land comfortably in Ottawa, and when he's been on the field, he is so difficult to handle in the air on set plays. He has great command. I think Luke Singh, who often plays beside him, has a lot of really positive attributes, but I think Amir Didic being so reliable lets Luke be a little bit more aggressive, and I think Didic is excellent there. I start to blur the lines here because you mentioned Themi Antonoglu, and I'll roll in and why I want to include him. But because I have another left back that I highly, highly rate.
It's probably the one I was alluding to.
Daniel Parra is who I went with.
Look, he was in parentheses for the longest time.
Newcomer, he plays with hate. He's like a Rezat Rama, but I think he's more refined and he's better in a lot of different ways. Offensively, he kicks in. He's relentless. His work rate, the tackles, interceptions he's chipping in has been really, really good. One of the knocks against him is that when he's been suspended for CanChamp or CPL matches, there have been other players that I think have done admirably, and that's a testament.
And you know what? And that factored into the reason why he was left out for me. Marginally, like very, very, very close. But that was the reason as well. Also, I'm not really getting behind the clapping as well. When you're getting and showing the four. Like, for me, that, like, the soccer player in me said, yeah, if I'm playing against you next time, I'm leaving my leg in there. I'm not going out to injure, but when we have those 50-50s, you're going to clap and go at the four. I mean, that's besides his play. I could totally understand that. Him being your left back. Absolutely. He's incredible.
I will step up into my wing backs now. You've already covered Valor's great sensation this year in Antonoglu, so I have him at left wing back.
Okay.
I am going to be a little bit more aggressive in my team because...
It looks that way. Parra's the one sitting and holding for you.
It will continue to look that way because there are not a lot of like proper defensive midfielders in my group, which we'll get to. I just love how Matteo Debrienne left, U21 Canadian player.
He's your guy, though. I feel like if you were a player, you would be the Debrienne. Like, you play almost like it's a bit of hockey. You throw your body on the line. Yeah. He has like that Max Ferrari chip on his shoulder, plays with fire, just like never gives up. I love him. And rolling around. He's the type of guy, when you play on turf and you have the black bits, the rubber, right? his spandex are filled. Just he's rolling everywhere. Anything that's on that pitch, he's gotten. Any burn, he's gotten it. He puts it all on the line.
Love that, Chet, but I don't know that either of us had him in our team, which is something we might talk about later. But for Antonoglu, because he replaced MDB, they didn't really lose in that area of the field.
Yes.
He has been their catalyst offensively, too. He's a very smart player, and he's also uses his speed and his intelligence to lead the league in interceptions at this point as well. So I love that. And then the one that's like really a reach, but I had to find a way to fit him into my team, is Tristan Borges at right wing back.
Yeah, you're stretching.
I'm taking some creative license.
I love this.
With my lack of defenders.
You're telling your team, go.
But when we see my attacking five, you're going to understand that I had to get Borges in somewhere, and I think
I get it.
A bit hard done by with injury, but this is as good as I've seen him play. And for me, you can have an argument about he or maybe Kyle Becker, but I think Borges is the best player that's ever played in this league for his output and what he's done and his ability to step up in big moments.
I love it.
So Borges is going to be my right wing back. I
like it.
He's not going to do much defending, I don't imagine.
Born again. Can we do something quick? I'm going to tell you my two that sit,
yeah.
And then you can tell me your two that sit, and then I'll go and
bold of you to assume I have two that sit.
And look, well, you said 3-5-2, so maybe I'm curious to hear about that nucleus for you. But I like your squad. When I break down the two, for me, I had Manny Aparicio, right? Because I look at Atletico Ottawa. This team still kind of plays a certain way, which is very safe in many ways. I won't say boring, I won't say mundane, but they protect what they have. Now they have someone who goes box to box and just rattles. And why I've always respected Manny is because if it's not a perfect performance, you're still there hustling, bustling, rallying. And even if you're feeling lazy on the day, when you see someone of his caliber who's arguably one of the best players in the league working like he's one of the worst, if you're having an okay day and a decent day, you have to go and bust your ASS. You have to, if he's doing that. That's just what he brings. So to see him be the catalyst of the transformation of the Atletico Ottawa that finished 6th last season, for me, he's a shoo-in. And I'm talking about from the first match against York United at TD Place. He was the one getting them back on the stage and the page that they needed to be in. So he's there. The player that I circled, and I was trying to find a replacement and be like, you know what? I don't want to go and talk about Kyle Becker again. I want to really find someone else. And I've thought about all the selfless runs he's made, the crosses into the box, the corners, the times that you need to step up and show your veteran spirit, but also the fact that you're just still steps ahead of players. And again, I was just drawn to that number 10 that wears orange or white most weeks. And Kyle Becker, for me, people talk about stats and how a guy is and what he's bringing, but just that energy and engine and his brain, his football brain, separates him from everyone else. So that is why I'm going to give those two. Let's hear about your two that are sitting. Maybe they're not sitting, but your central midfielders.
Again, so I have a 3-5-2. So I've decided I'm going to have 1-6, and you named him.
One breaking it up.
And it's Manny, and he's responsible for
Got
everything.
it. He's protecting the back four.
He's protecting the back four. Moving into my other central midfield positions, and again, some liberties here. I'm going to take the one that is probably, he can play as the 10. He's not playing as the 10 this year because he's scoring goals for fun. I'm going to put Brian Wright there.
What is happening?
And I am going to give him some credence for his playmaking ability. He's going to.
Hold on, where's Brian Wright play?
It's going to be a 3-4, and then Wright is just in between my two other strikers, which I think speak for themselves. But Wright is technically, as I've drawn it up and as we'll show, he's got to be in central midfield because I got to get him in based on my formation. And then the other one is Tobias Warshevsky, another one I'm taking some license with.
In the middle?
In the middle.
Nah, this is carnage.
No, it's not carnage.
So you're basically saying everyone's going to go and score.
Yeah.
Manny is supposed to be your anchor.
My best defense is a great offense, Jordan Wilson.
I love this. He said, we're going to win 7-6.
Cavalry has had a rocky start to the season in terms of turning draws into wins.
Yes.
And they lose Meyer Bevan on the inactive list. They have a handful of injuries, and Warshevsky seems to be the only one that's consistently contributing.
7 goals.
Similar to Tristan Borges, I'm not expecting him to do a whole lot of defending.
No one is on your squad.
No one
Outside of that 3.
That's true.
Not even. That 2, because you have Para. sitting. So there's two people that are locked in defensively.
What I've learned about Tobias Warshevsky is he'll play wherever you tell him to play. He's great on the wing. He can play through the middle. And maybe my strikers will rotate with him.
You know what, Jenko? I don't think it's crazy because I think that if you played him in the middle, he would do a shift for you. I have a question about who would be protecting the back four and Manny Aparicio, because when you shackle a dog like that, I just don't know if we would see the same Manny Aparicio. What allows him to be great is that Manny, sometimes people don't talk about this, but as playing against him, word on the street, and just dissecting his game as well, he'll play a 40-yard ball that will probably never get there. But the reason why he's forgiven is because he's able to go and press when you're not supposed to. And I've played with players where you're like, brother, don't go because we all got to run 50 yards. But when you have someone that goes and wins the ball more often than not, then you're like, oh, I'll forgive you for playing that pass out. I think if he was going to play in that sixth position, the best parts of his game would be nullified. But I do like that you had a hard time trying to get all these little these stars into the squad.
I'm trying to
But that's why the list is tough. That's why it's hard.
Go to your 3.
So I'm going to go with my 3. I'm going to start from left to right.
Okay.
Benny Bedabanga is the left winger for me, and maybe I'm a bit forge heavy already, but I just think if I was to play in this league, someone that I'm getting extra rest for, my beautiful wife, when she used to make me oatmeal the day of a game, I'm saying, give me another bowl. I'm going to need the carbs. I'm going to be ready to when he pops in. It is not even that he's quick and shifty. That is probably what everyone looks at first. It is the fact that usually quick and shifty players, as soon as I get my body on them and I bump them, they're moving. Benny, I saw him go against some TFC dogs as well. He is not.
Yep.
He is built to last. So where are you getting the advantage on homeboy? If he's shifty, he's fast, he can shoot from distance, and he can take a tackle, and he has a bit of sass about him, like he hits you and he looks at you like, what? Where's the edge? Where am I going to go against Benny and be like, I'm going to get the better of you on the day? For example, I'll go on to my next side, the right wing. Love Tristan Borges a bit. Great left foot. If I hit Tristan well, again, these are all legal hits, by the way. These are not hitman hits. No shots to the head. Just running, 50-50. I get the better of you and tackle him. I already know that Tristan's going to be thinking a bit different the next time I come at him. He's going to be like, where's Jordan? And maybe I know where Jordan is, but maybe someone else is going to hit me. So he might just alter his game a bit. Benny's not doing that. So I put those two there because I'm playing right now on a season, and the way that they've stepped up for their squad, they are those guys. And performances people don't think about because you look at York United now, but remember beginning of the season when those two specifically tore apart York United at York Lions Stadium. They were just... It was men against boys in some respects. Shout out to my dogs at York United, but I got to call a spade a spade. That is what they can bring. The player that's at the 10 for me is a player that was a joy to play with the last year before I retired in 2022. Lost his way a little bit, and it happens in football. 2023, wasn't playing his best. For me, wasn't really focused, but always had that quality. 2024, he back. He is back. Mo Babuli in the first half of the season, and I wouldn't even say the first half, I wouldn't even say the first 7 games. I would just say the last 6 games, I think he's had 4 goals in the last, I want to say 4 goals in the last 6. He has just stepped up the way he strikes the ball, the first free kick of the season. This is what he brings. This is why he's in the squad. This is why he is that guy that could play at Forge, take a break, go play abroad, come back, and someone would sign him and not even see him train with a team because that is what he can do. So Mobile Bully at that 10, I have a hard time putting someone else. You have another 10 that could be, not this makeshift team that you're putting on. All these attackers. I don't know that another 10 in the league that can do what he is doing.
Yeah, I think he will probably be there by the season's end, but for this point of the season, he hasn't been yet, just for me. And again, I'm taking a very bold, different strategy and not building a team that I think can be balanced over 28 matches.
You're saying,
I'm trying to plug and play.
You're giving love to the attackers, which I'm sure their attackers love.
And maybe I'm biased this year because I've seen so many years in the CPL where the best players have been in midfield.
Yes.
And like Golden Boot races, like Ollie Bassett won the Golden Boot last year with Meyer.
And he's not even in your squad.
And Joao Morelli, like not a true out-and-out 9. Like he'd be more of a 10 that's played it. So I'm going to give some love to the number 9s. You have one more winger to give me.
No, I give you Borges, Benny Banga.
Oh, you are putting Borges in there.
Yeah, okay. Borges, sorry. I kind of did like a little hybrid thing, but yeah Borges is the other side.
Okay, well then who's your number 9?
Who's your number 9 or number 9?
I have 2 of them.
Sure,
I couldn't pick. Kwesi Poku is one of them.
Got it.
Again, in a world where this team is going to go out and attempt to play some actual matches, if I need him to play fullback, he can play fullback.
Yeah.
If I say, you know what, we've shipped 3 goals in the first 15 minutes because this formation's not working, Kwesi, go do a job back
there. And when Warshevsky inevitably goes off and does his thing, you can bring your number 9 back into that midfield and say, hey, sit for me.
You're starting to
Everyone's interchanging. I'm buying it slowly.
Kwesi is like, I think we've talked about him enough, and I don't want to say that to diminish it because he deserves all the attention he's been getting, but he's been marvelous. Since I think June 15th, his 8 goals in the CPL in 7 matches, and then and his more recent performances too, just been consistent. And then Ruben Del Campo, I think
it's fair.
With he being kind of like Brian Wright, not necessarily performing last season, for him to come in this year, be more complete, be more consistent. He's basically made Sam Salter the super sub of the Canadian Premier League. No one's coming more than him. Del Campo, I think, is going to stay in this Golden Boot race till the end, and as such,
I think it's going to be a 3-way tie to the end.
I will be beating team 7-5 with this formation.
I like it. I said 7-6, you said 7-5 because I guess that Warchevsky and Poku switch after a few goals.
They're going to smarten up a little bit.
You talk about a number 9, and it was tough for me because I could put any 3. Granted, you did them. I like the 3-5-2 because you ended up getting them into the squad. You talked about Del Campo. Thought he's been a breakout for Carlos Gonzalez and Atletico Ottawa. Brian Wright, for me, was up there with the player that I chose. 8-5, born again. This is, just to put it in context, I saw him end of last year, literally right before New Year's, and I asked him, I said, give me a number, and he looked at me, and I said, what are you scoring? We're in a soccer context. And he's just like, I can't even say that right now. And he couldn't say that because he believes in himself, but his confidence was low. His confidence right now is not low. He believes that he can go and score and be with the best of them, as he should. But I think that rapid rise of Poku and the fact that he doesn't even play as a 9, he's played other attacking positions, but you've come, and the way that he's finished, one touch, chipping keepers, that confidence, it's so hard for me not to put him as my lone number 9. Especially when my team is going to get crosses in the box with Antonoglu, with Aird, with Borges, with Benny Batabanga. You need someone that is just in rare form to get on the end of things. But
okay, let's do a recap. We'll go with mine first. So the 3-5-2, where defense is not optional, but it's not the priority. Finding way to get a lot of exceptional attacking players.
It looks wild when I see
group.
it.
There's wild when I see it. There's no doubt. It's jarring in some ways. Del Campo, Poku, the 9s. We have Antonoglu and Borges on the wings. Wright and Warshevsky. They're going to have to be a little bit flexible.
I don't know if Brian Wright, love him dearly, is going to be cool with all the running you got to do.
You know who's going to be even more mad about it? Manny Aparicio.
Like you say, you guys, you're just leaving me by myself.
Para, Didic, Meyer Jaguar, and Carducci in goal. Let's move on to Jordan's team of the season, of the midway mark of this season. Jordan,
it's a balanced side.
3-1. There's a lot more balance in this side than mine.
It's a balanced side. No, but I get what you're doing. You couldn't make hard decisions about your attacking prowess, so you decided to get them all in the squad. My squad is dummying, beaten, slapping up on your squad because it's balanced.
There's just an unbelievable amount of orange in that team, is what I'm noticing, which must hurt you a little bit to do that, especially with no Brian Wright up
It is
there.
forge heavy.
It's very forge heavy.
But rightfully so.
We got about a minute and a half, Jordan, so I want to get to some important questions. Most difficult player to leave out of your team?
Most difficult was both Del Campo and Wright. I think just the year we talked about and touched on it, what they bring, and also based on the season that they had last year, I think it's exceptional halfway through. What I will say is I want an outright Golden Boot winner. I don't want that award shared. I need them to look at each other, grab the ball for penalties if you need to go and take it. Make sure you're that guy. For me, which player, Adam, did you expect to be selecting right now at the halfway point, but didn't?
Dan Klomp, probably, for me.
Oh, that's mine as well.
Like, really good player. I think he's probably going to be... He and Dan Nimick are most likely to sort of push towards the end if they can stay fit and contribute. Yeah. So, for me there. Just to circle back, most difficult to leave out, I think Callum Irving's been really good for Vancouver.
That's a good shout as well.
And I feel like at times the defense and the mistakes they make in front of him makes his stats look worse. Kalongo's been very good, but he's been platooned with Kalelat. But yeah, I think Aparicio is going to be my lock. He's probably going to stay, though he might be in a slightly different role. And then quickly, and I mean quickly, young player that's going to be there next year that wasn't already.
Tell me yours, because I...
Gazdov.
Oh, good shout. That's a great show. Great show, Jenko.
Good night on the show. Thanks, Jordan
Love
Wilson.
you all, baby.
Teams of the season on OneNation, presented by Tony Betts.